Good evening, everybody. Hope you're well. Hope you can see me and hear me okay. First in the house tonight is Gemma. Hello, Gemma. Hello, Carol. Hope you're all well. So, tonight we're going to be doing some wire wrapped dragonflies. And if you were with me a couple of weeks ago, we actually used this method for making some wire wrapped bangles and earrings. Hello, Paula. Hello, Emma. So these were the wire wrapped bangles that we made, and that's the smaller rondelles. So that's what we're going to be doing, is transferring that technique onto doing a dragonfly. Now the dragonflies you can actually make into a necklace if you want to. So I'm going to show you the one that I've made, which I've made two dragonflies either side as a connector. Hello, Wendy. Thank you for joining. So it's a long necklace. So we've got the connector here and a connector here as well. I mean, you don't have to have it bent that much, but on this one I've used some of my odds and ends, rose quartz gemstones, some, I don't know if you could see them, but I've got some AB rose beads in there. I'm just taking you further away now, aren't I? But it's actually one that slips over the head. Now, which way round did I have this? So it slips over the head. So I quite like the length of that. I suppose you could go a bit further up, couldn't you? It's difficult. It doesn't show up that well on screen with what I'm wearing either. Hello, Carol. Hello, Linda. So that's one option, that you could do it as a connector. I really enjoyed doing that. I've just connected them with what's called tiger tail, which is a type of beading thread for those of you that haven't used it before. And also, so the one we're going to start off with tonight is doing a planter decoration. By that I mean a decoration that just plops into your plant pot that you can pop indoor or outdoor. Now I know some of you bought these bead boxes in my auction, the last but one, and I think I've got one left in the group thread. So there's that dragonfly as well. You can also, this was one that I did a tutorial on a year ago. You can fill in the wings, make a brooch. So let's go on the overhead and let's get stuck straight in. Hello, Francis. I think I've said hello to Linda. Right, there we go. So first of all, we're going to be using 0.8mm wire. That's for the bit that runs down the centre, this bit. So we're going to make it in two parts. And that way it means that it's sturdier in the middle and you've got more flexible wire, thinner wire for the wings. So you will need your round nose pliers, which are also known as looping pliers. So the further down you go, the bigger the loop. I'm going to go about 1 centimetre from the end. I'm going to probably have about 1 inch tail. Just wrap that round one side like so. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my chain nose pliers and just clamp over that loop. Not too harshly, because you'll start marking the wire. And then I'm going to actually do a couple of wraps around there. Let's just zoom in a little bit more. Okay, now you need some side cutters. Always have the flat side against where you're cutting to get more precision cut. Just cover over the area that you're cutting, just so that you don't get any in your eye or taking flight. And then with your chain nose pliers, just gently ease that tail around so it sits flat. So now what I'm going to do is add 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 crystals. So these are 5 by 6mm crystal rondelles. That's the only thing in zooming in. It makes it really difficult for you to see what I'm doing without getting my hand in the way. Right, just threading those on. But do comment in the thread if you did the wire wrap bangles. I know some of you have done the wire wrap bangles. I certainly know Linda did. I remember that Gemma did as well, because they shared their makes in our beaders group, Beaders of Beads by Vachil. So don't forget to share them in there, and pop over for some inspiration as well. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. So this is a similar technique that we used for the bangles as well. Now, because the rondelles are a bit smaller, I'm going to actually add another 2 and go for 14 on this. Yes, I thought you had, Gemma. Very nice they were too. So we're going to grab, so I actually cut a 10-inch piece, but you don't need that long, to be honest. I think probably 8 inches would be enough. Leave yourself a bit of a gap, so it just allows some room for the wire wrapping with the next wire. Just gives it somewhere else to go. So just wrapping that round one side of my pliers. Then I'm going to clamp that and just bring that round a couple of times, like so. And then again, we're just going to trim. Didn't quite get in there close enough. And then just ease that in. I'm going to just zoom out now, because I am conscious that I keep going off camera. There we go. So that is the part across here, the little tail. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to work with 0.6mm wire, and it's a little bit finer. Now if you can, work from the reel. Hello Sue, hello Kim. It just makes it easier in case you don't actually cut the right amount of wire. So leave a little tail, pop the tail underneath your non-dominant hand and just do a full wrap around. Now what we're going to do on this one is we're going to do a full wrap like so. And you can also do a wrap in between like that if you want to, or you can just do half wraps. So I'm doing one and then one round the middle, and I'm doing it at an angle. So if you imagine that's 7 o'clock to 2 o'clock, so we're going from 7 till 2, and then we're going to do a vertical wrap in between beads. It's surprising how much wire this takes, which is why it's so much easier if you can actually work from the reel. So I think I said I'm using 0.6mm wire for this. Now when you get to the last 3, we're then going to start working the wings. Hello Francis. Okay, so we're just going to stop with the wire wrapping there. I'm going to trim that loose tail off. Let's just make sure that sits okay. Now what I'd recommend you do is give yourself, I'm going to actually cut 2 meters, that's 2 arms length of wire, because we are going to be doing the wings and you need quite a bit for that. So for the bottom one, we're going to do the same number as we've done for the entire body. So I think it was 14. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So, oh, where's it gone? I'm sure I've got too much, but I'll give you a quick recap at the end as to how much you've got left, so we can work out what you need to cut. I'm throwing beads everywhere here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Right, so that is on the top of the crystals. I'm going to anchor it from the bottom this time, okay? So I'm going to do a full circuit around that rondelle. Is that okay with everybody? So wire from the top and then wire wrap from the bottom. And then we're going to do the other side now as well to match. So we do the bottom wings first. So one. I do love these rondelles. I am going to probably pop this in the garden. Do you know, I was thinking you could make bigger ones as well. I might have a bash at that. Not quite sure whether or not just to make the stems bigger. I think I'd probably go for bigger beads. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But would love to know if you can share, whilst you're watching this, what sort of things do you think you might be able to use these dragonflies for? You know, have you got anything that springs to mind? Would you think, well, actually, I think I prefer a brooch, or I like the plant decoration? Let me know your thoughts. What sort of sparks your inspiration and imagination? So this one's from the bottom, wire from the bottom. This time it's going round the top, like so. And I'm going to go down through the wings just to secure that in place. Oh, we're getting some good suggestions here, and I will have a look in a second. I'm going to come back up. Now, you don't have to do this, but you could either, oh gosh, I really have got way too much here. But once we twist the bottom part, it's amazing how quickly it will go. You could either do sort of a wire wrap round that bead, or you could add another bead in on the top. Let's try that, and I will come and read out your suggestions, but keep them coming, because I love it when we bounce off ideas. Right, so I'm just popping that at the top, putting it at an angle, going through the wings, and I'm just going to actually bring that and wrap it Now that needs to be a wee bit tighter. Hopefully you could see that. See that sticks up? Isn't it so sparkly? And then do a full wrap round. So let's just do a quick recap where we're at. So we've done this one in one hit. Then we have wrapped 0.6mm wire, stopped here, and then done one wing, then a second wing. And then this time we are going to do 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. We're going to do 11 on this one. But you will need to play around with the numbers depending on what size you've used. I've used 2 less for the 6mm. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Do you know this would be quite a nice little mobile in a room as well, especially with all the sparkles. Right, so wire coming from underside, secure on the top side. And if you find that you're running out of space, just bring the wings down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do a full wrap. And this time you're going to actually work from the top and anchor it on the bottom. I love the fact that as this wire's all moving, it just catches the light beautifully. I'm just going to carry on for now before I just have a look at your comments. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right, okie dokies. And right, so you want it round that way, and we're going to secure it underneath this time. Down here. Let's just bring those down a little bit. Take your time with it. Right, go through the wings. Sorry, I'm come right back to you. Okay, now probably look quite nice actually bringing that one up and actually having another one raised as well. So let's do that. And let's pop another one on, and let's just lay that at an angle as well. Bring it up between now. Let's go down. Just wrapping it round a couple of times. Now, you didn't need half that much wire. I have got 1 1/4 arm's length. Now, I am going to cut that off. If you're going to wear it as a piece of jewellery, make sure that you cut so that it's away, the loose tail will be away from the skin. And then our final bit with this is to make the rod for the planter. So that's the back, all pretty neat, and that's the front. So obviously you can curve the tail, you can have the tail straight, entirely your choice. You can pop out the wings, you can shape the wings on that. So before we do the last little bit, let's just have a look at your comments. Emma says turn it into a butterfly. Definitely. A garden sun catcher. Yes, I love that. Kim, yeah, would make it into a mobile. I think you could have either different sized dragonflies, and you could vary the size of the beads and have maybe some crystals that it hangs from as well. That you could perhaps have a little wooden pole with just some little hooks in there if you're good at DIY, or you've got someone in your home that is. Hang it in the garden as a sun catcher. We're loving that. Hang in the window to catch the light. Definitely on a plant, possibly to attach a plant support so it's amongst the leaves. Yes, absolutely. Francie says gorgeous sparkly beads. They are, aren't they? A dragonfly to a key ring, says Paula. Thank you, definitely. Look, really pretty hanging from trees in the garden. Oh, I love that idea. I might just do that. In Wootton Bassett, where I live, there's a little walkway that's through to Wootton Bassett, and there's this little tree that people have made into a fairy tree with little fairy doors and little decorations. And wouldn't it be so beautiful? I might actually go and hang some of these off of that tree to go with the fairies. But wouldn't that be nice actually on the tree, or on a tree? Curtain tie backs, good counting practice. Yes, not great at that, as you well know. Hello Patricia. Paula loves a bit of sparkle on an evening, so a dragonfly would be lovely. Yes, we're going for the garden mobiles. I love the text, skirt down. Is that what the predictive text came up with? Oh goodness, it comes up with some right corkers, doesn't it? I'm so pleased that you like it. Add to the tree at Avebury. Oh, is there a special tree in Avebury? Is there a fairy tree? Right, so 0.6 wire. We are going to attach, I would suggest going between those two beads. I'm going to say a metre initially, and then we will work back and see what we've got left. I'm sorry I haven't actually worked out the measurements. Right, so I am going to do one full wire wrap in between, and then, so this is the bit underneath, so decide which is the front, decide which is the back. 0.6mm wire. I'm going to put my finger, my dominant hand, in between those two wires, and then I'm going to clasp the wires. That's how I find it comfy. You might find it slightly different, whatever works for you. Right, let's just, and then we're just going to twist away. There are little gizmos that do this for you, but I'll be perfectly honest with you, by the time you've set the gizmo up, you could have just done it yourself anyway. Now, if you're using 0.6mm wire for this, you're not going to want anything too big, too long I should say, because otherwise it's not going to be a great support. I would say if you want something a bit longer, then maybe go for 0.8mm so that you've got a thicker rod that goes in. I'm flicking my beads everywhere here. And if you don't like that sort of look, you could always get some, I'm just trying to think what the tape's called. It wouldn't be so good if it was going outdoors, but indoors, if you took it out when you watered, you can get some of that tape. What's it called? not masking tape, but it's like a pretty tape that you can use in card making. Right, so what I might do is just make a little loop at the bottom, see how that goes. Right, you probably only needed, on hindsight, I would say about 12 inches, 8 to 10 inches either side for that, so probably a length of what, 20 max. Washi tape, that's it. Right, not sure how this is going to work out, so I'm going to try it. I'm going to try looping that together. Might look a complete bag of spanners, which I'm not going to lie, it's kind of looking that way. That's kind of okay. Or you could just cut it off at the bottom, but that does give it something a little bit sturdier at the bottom. So that would go into your plant like so, and then you can bend it as you wish. If you are going to put it into a necklace like I've done, then these loops here, I've attached my tiger tail and a crimp bead to it. Now if there's enough people that want to see me actually do a full tutorial on taking you through putting the necklace together, then I will do it, but I would imagine there's probably a fair few of you that can probably figure that out. So we'll see how you all feel about that. So there we go, nice colour for the garden, nice copper wire. You can use any wire. You should hang them from a shepherd's crook. Yes, you can buy those from the garden centre, can't you? So that's that. What I thought I'd do is just another quick one with smaller crystals. So these are the 4mm bicones that are actually in the thread. So you can see the difference in size there. So what we'll do again is we will cut a length of wire to go down the middle. Right, it's about 7.5, 8 inches. If you're not comfortable with your wire wrap loops, you can always just turn a loop at the bottom if you prefer. So first of all, we're going to actually make our wire wrap loop either side, make the loop, clamp it, and then twist it round. Trim that. Hello Sandra. So Sandra said she's going to put hers on sticks and put in the garden to keep the cats off whilst her grass grows, as they will sparkle in the sun. Oh, brilliant. Do you know what? Please take photographs and send them, post them into our Beaders of Beads by Vichil, because, you know, let's flood the group with colour. Now I've got a lot of little crystal rondelles actually in the thread as well. The 3x4 crystal rondelles are the ones that I've used for the necklace. Raining gear. Right, I was going to add a seed bead in with this one. These are size 8 seed beads. Let's just straighten that a little bit. I'm just having problems getting that 4mm bicones on there. So all I would say to you is, obviously I'm just giving you some guidance, and it just see where it takes you. You know, if you're not wanting to buy any more beads, have a look in your bead stash. Have a look and see what you can do with what you've got and take it from there. If you do want to treat yourself, there's lots of different crystals in the thread. Do you know what? You can even go acrylic beads with this as well if you want to, especially if they're going outside. You can get some really nice sparkly acrylic ones. I do think the glass rondelles they're quite difficult to beat. Emma says yes to the necklace tutorial. Please let me know if you would like to see the necklace tutorial step by step, how I do the connectors, how I attach them all, make it into a necklace that slips over the head. And if there's enough of you, I will do that tutorial next. Paula says, very, very good question. Do you need a special wire if the dragonfly is going outside? What I would say is you need to be prepared for whatever wire you're using to be open to the elements. So it's going to go rustic. And to be honest, I think that's part of the beauty of it. I guess you could buy some of the aluminium wire from the garden centre, but I don't know what gauge wires they do, and I don't really know enough about them as to whether or not they tarnish. Now, bare copper is also quite nice, the untreated copper, because that darkens anyway, and that would be quite nice, just naturally darkening in the elements. So answering your question is no, but just be prepared, especially if you're gifting them or if you're selling them. You need to make people aware that the colour will change. But I think most people would understand that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Because I've got seed beads in between, I'm just going for 12 this time. So you've got your wire wrap loop at the bottom. So let's just compare. So this is 4mm, this is 5x6. It's quite a big difference. The other thing you could also do as well is, now the copper wire, most copper wire is treated, and that it's coated with something that basically stops the aging process for the copper. If you buy copper wire that doesn't have any treatment on it, what you can do is you can what's called oxidize it. Now, oxidizing is something that you can use in, you know, like with silversmithing as well. It's basically when people blacken it. Now, I remember doing some experimenting with, it's liver of sulphur that you use. Make sure if you do buy it that you follow all the instructions and don't do it indoors either. And I remember trying it because I wanted this lovely vintage look with a piece that I'd made, and I could not understand why I put it in for such a long time, and it's only meant to take seconds, and nothing was happening. Now, when I YouTubed it, I mean, this was some time ago now, I discovered that if you've got the normal copper wire that is sold that's anti-tarnish, it's got this special coating on the top, and what happens with the liver of sulphur is it just slides straight off the surface. So if you're going to oxidize it, i.e. create a blackened effect before it goes outside, you need to make sure that you buy bare copper wire. It took me ages. Couldn't figure out why at all. Right, now, so we got that part, that's your middle bit. And we are now going to do the wrapping with your 0.6 wire. So have a tail and pop that under your non-dominant thumb. Do a full wrap round. So I'm going to do a wrap round the bead, and so you can, let's just go back a bit. So what you could do is you could do a wrap in between, so you could do a full wrap there and then a half wrap. I'm not so keen on that because it kind of covers up your seed bead. So let's just go back. If, just top tip for those of you that haven't done any wire wrapping before, nylon tipped pliers are wonderful for getting out the kinks in your wire. They're a must have really. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm literally just going to do a 7 to 2 wire wrap around the bicone and then the seed bead. And when I say 7 to 2, you're just imagining 7 o'clock and 2 o'clock. So Francis says that the necklace tutorial would be a good idea. Good, right, we've got a good show of hands for the necklace tutorial. So let's do that. And what I can also do is I can look at how we can adapt the dragonfly for perhaps a centre pendant as well as a connector. Perhaps we could do miniatures as well and do a miniature earring. I wonder if we could actually use 0.4mm wire to wrap round this part and use seed beads. Brain and gear, use seed beads for earrings. Just food for thought. So there we go. It's not quite as neat because it's quite difficult to actually shape round the seed beads. Now, did I shape round the seed beads on the other one? Let's have a look. Bear with. Yeah, I did. Right, let's cut that bit off at the bottom. Sorry, did I say hello to Val? I can't remember if I did. If I didn't, hello Val. Right, okay, so that's that little bit done. That's our body done. Now, on to the wings. What I've found as a general rule of thumb for the wings is however many sort of beads you've got is how many you go for the wings. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 crystals and 12 seed beads. So I generally find that the bottom bigger wing actually matches like for like on the beads. So this time, was I meant to cut that off? I wasn't, was I? I'm too busy chatting, aren't I? Ugh. Right, that wasn't how I did it in the first tutorial. So, I'm going to start that again. I don't like it anyway, I'm not going to lie. I think it's a bit messy. But hey, it's a good learning curve. You know, I'm chatting too much and not concentrating. Now, there's straightening your wire and there's straightening your wire. In other words, sometimes like this one, I wouldn't bother with it. You know, it'll just look like an absolute bag of spanners. So, right, so there we go. Let's take that off, shall we? How about bugle beads? Yes, you could use bugle beads. The only thing I think you might find with the bugle beads is that when you're making the wings, it might be difficult to maneuver around the bend, if that makes sense. Right. Let's try going over a seed bead and a bead at the same time. That might be nice. Seed bead and a bead. Seed bead and a bead. Oh, I prefer that. That looks better. Yeah, liking that more. Neater. Much neater. So I am just literally going from 7 o'clock at the seed bead to 2 o'clock at the bicone. Much better. Right, now let's do a full wrap, and then I'm going to just cut a metre this time. I did not need that much. Yeah, I think that'd work. Sue's just saying maybe just for the body is bugle beads, and for the wings is using seed beads. I am sorry, I'm struggling. I think I've said before, I think I can multitask, but I'm actually not that great at multitasking. And I can't remember how many it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 groups of everything. Oh, thank you, Emma. Right, let's move that out of the way. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right. So the wire is coming from underneath, so I'm going to bring it round and pop it in between the next bicone and bead, and this time I'm going on the top. So the wire last time came from the bottom, this time it's been on the top. And I think I'm going to go underneath the wing for this one. So you want to do a full anchor on that. And then we're going to do the other side. So we're just going to repeat that the other side. Bye Francis, thank you for joining. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now if you are making lots of these, it might be an idea for you to use seed beads as well, because it does take quite a few beads. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I've missed one. Focus, focus. So Emma's saying that she'd love to make ladybirds with seed beads for a pendant and earrings, and wouldn't know where to start. I'm not going to lie, I probably wouldn't either right now. And what I would probably do is I would probably go on Pinterest and YouTube and look for some inspiration. And there's certainly lots of patterns out there, but you know, sometimes I find, Emma, particularly with the bead, like with bead weaving, needle and thread work, is sometimes the tiniest things take the longest amount of time and work to make. Not that there's anything wrong with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Right, so this time the actual wires come in on the bottom, so we're going to anchor that on the top. And this time I think I'm going to go the other side of the seed bead because it's a little bit tight. So we're going to go through the wing, and I am going to pick up a crystal and go across the centre. You could just wire wrap it at an angle if you want to. It's not quite as easy to get it to sit properly with the bicones. No, I'll try a seed bead instead. Whoops. Right, go down through the wings at an angle. And there we go. So we're just going to aim for 2 less this time round. Now I've got slightly different colour bicones that's left in my stash. The other one was the one that I've got in the thread, but waste not. It's a bit greener, this one. So Kim is just replying regarding the ladybird and saying that you could do a bead embroidery ladybird, then make the wings out of wire like the dragonfly. Lovely idea. And that would be, well, personally I'd find that easier because, you know, you could draw an outline for your little ladybird, couldn't you? Right. Don't worry, Sue's got to shoot off. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. Right, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right, I'm just going to concentrate for a minute, bear with, and I'll come back to your comments. Now, I'm going to take a few off because that seems quite long. That's better. So I'm just wire wrapping around the seed bead, coming up through the wings. We're getting a bit fiddly here. Right, that seed bead's gotten in the way. Let's try that again. Just taking your time. Now, keeping my finger over that little bit there. On hindsight, it's probably not an idea on the wings to start and finish with the seed bead. There we go. So got 2. Oh, I made a blip there. Right, what I'm going to do is just make sure it matches. I've missed out a seed bead there, but I think if I get it to match the other side, 1, 2. Do you know, my focus is terrible. I think we all have days like that though, don't we? We all have days where if you're beading, your brain's kind of saying, nah, I'm not having any of that now. Oh, good grief. See, I'm doing 2 seed beads. Right, we're nearly there. We're nearly there. But I think it's good to try, because we've got, you know, the hour. Not that I always take up the full hour, because it's quite nice to do, you know, I think it's nice to watch quick tutorials as well, isn't it? But I think it's just nice to see different ways of doing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a seed bead. Whoops, where's the seed bead gone? Nope, disappeared. Right, so the wire is on the top. We are going to anchor on the bottom. Just take your time, bring the wings down a bit if you're struggling to get a good tension on all your beads. Now it is fiddlier with the smaller ones. Is fiddlier a word? I'm not sure. Right, so let's, and I'm not really liking that seed bead there, but there you go. At least by doing it, you can actually see, you know, the pros and cons of both, can't you, really? So, and then trim off the bottom part of the tail. Well, you know, the tail, not the actual tail. I'm sure I trimmed a bit of my skin then. That's not nice, is it? Right. So, there you go. Isn't that lovely and sparkly? And then just to finish off, you want your 0.6mm wire. Let's try and have a look what the 0.8, how difficult the 0.8 is to work with. Let's try that instead. So that's the top. I am actually going to pop the wire a bit further down on this one. I think that's not really going to go, is it? Maybe not. Let's pop it there. I haven't done a full wrap on this one. Let's see how that goes. Oh, I like it. You could do a 4-leaf clover as well. Great shout. Can you see it is tougher doing the 0.8? Can you hear all my beads being flipped everywhere? Right. So Frances is saying that Emma children's colouring books. Oh, she's addressing Emma. I was thinking that that's the name of the colouring books I'm having a moment. Children's colouring books often have easy to copy pictures, lots of things, and use them to make your own bead embroidery pendants. Totally with you on that. and the adult colouring books as well. Right, let's just tighten that up at the top. So that's a bit sturdier than the 0.6. So it is a wee bit sturdier, and you can just trim that off because it's obviously going to go straight in to the flower pot. So that's your, there we go. Oh dear, that looks a bit wonky donkeys, doesn't it? There we go. So let's just have a quick look at your comments. I know I missed one from Sue. Good idea, Kim. I was thinking of doing a ladybird pendant bead embroidery style. Just love all the natural things like trees and insects. Must be because it's spring. No, I agree. I love it, and I've got a thing for doing little birds as well. Or a bowl. Not quite sure. A bowl. 4-leaf clover. Perhaps you can elaborate on that. Let me know. I'm so pleased you like them. Let's just go on the main screen. So let's show you sort of real time. So that is the 0.8 mil on that. It's quite strong. What I like is the fact that they're still pretty sturdy, you know. That is the one with the 0.6, and still that's quite sturdy as well. So, you know, would really love to see your makes on these. Now, if anybody wants to buy the boxes of the crystal rondelles, that sort of size, I've got 2 left, and I've got one of the boxes like with all these different colours available too. So could do a bumblebee. Oh yes, do you know what? Oh, I've got something just pop up on my screen. How inconvenient. Oh, where have you gone? What I thought with the bumblebee, oh gosh, I hope you're still there. Right, yes you are. Is I wondered with a bumblebee if you could actually do a caged bead for the body and do something else for the wings. Maxine means bow. Oh yes, definitely. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you because it's 7 o'clock. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Hope you enjoyed it, and speak to you all very soon. Take care. Bye.